So starting with the brows, I'm using Spiked Pencil by MAC, and I'm just going to start by underlining the brows slightly lower than where my natural brow hairs start. This being as I don't have a lot of brow hair, so I need to give the illusion of a fuller brow. I'm now going to overline the top of the brow and create a nice elongated tail, and I'm going to bring this down slightly further than where my brow hairs end. I'm then going to use the hair stroke technique to fill in the brow to give the illusion of a fuller brow and to appear a lot more thicker as I don't have a lot of brow hair. And then I'm going to fill in the front of the brow. So I'm just going to create exactly the same brow on the other side, so underlining the brow lower than where my natural brow hairs start and then creating my desired shape. Going over my brows with a brow gel from NYX Cosmetics, and I'm using the shade Black. This is going to give the illusion of thicker, fuller brow hairs. I'm now going in with a MAC 252 brush and Select Cover Up in NW15, and I'm just going to use the tip of my brush just to carve out the brow. And it's best to do this slowly so you do not get it in any of the brow hairs, because you want a really nice, neat, sharp line. Once I'm happy with how I've carved my brows, I'm then going to go in and fill in the rest of the eyelid. Once I've filled in the whole of the eye space, I'm then going to use a patting motion to set the concealer. Patting the concealer is what's going to set our base ready for our eyeshadow application. This technique allows the eyeshadow to be as pigmented as it can be and to have amazing colour payoff. We do not need to use any translucent powder, we're just going to pat until it goes matte. Now I'm just going to complete the same steps on the other side. We're going to keep patting the concealer until we can no longer see any pigmentation from the skin. I'm now going to go in with a 227 Zoeva brush, and I'm just going to buff out the edges so that we don't get any harsh lines. I'm now going to use Copper Tone Blush by MAC as my transition shade, and a fluffy brush from MSQ. We're just going to place the product in the centre of the lid and work our way around in circular motions. We're not blending at the moment, we're just building up the pigmentation till we're happy with the colour. Once I'm happy with the pigmentation of the blusher, I'm then going to start my blending. So I'm barely touching the skin with my brush, and I'm using circular motions to buff out the edges to make it nice and blurred and blended. Now I'm just going to do the exact same thing on the other side, so starting in the centre of the lid and then working our way around. using the shade Shy from the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette and a 228 Zoeva brush for my second blend. Now with our second shade, we're going to place this slightly lower than where we placed our first shade, as we still want to be able to see the copper tone blush that we applied first. Once I'm happy with how my second shade is blended, I'm then going to go back in with my copper tone blush that I used as my first shade, as we want to be able to see the first shade and then the second shade. Now going in with a smaller brush from MSQ for my third shade, I'm using Fever Blusher by MAC, and again I'm placing this slightly lower than the second shade. Once we've blended the Fever blush, we're then going to go back in with the shadow from the Huda Beauty palette. So we're going to go back in with Shy, and then we're also going to go back in with Copper Tone. So once we've added a new colour, we're constantly going to go back in with the previous shadows that we added originally. And again, we're going to repeat the same steps on the opposite side. I'm now going to use the shade Bossy from the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette and a MAC 221 brush. I'm just going to pat the product on, again slightly lower than our third shade. Once I'm happy, I'm then going to blend out the edges. We're now going to cut the crease by using a 144 Zoeva and MAC Cosmetics Select Cover Up. We're only going to create a half cut crease. We're then going to go back in with our MAC 221 brush and the shade Bossy from the Huda Beauty palette. We're just going to pat this on the outer corner of the crease and carefully blend it towards the inner corner. Now we're going to go back in with the Zoeva 144 brush, so it's the same brush that we used to cut the crease. I'm going to use Sex Eyeshadow by Illamasqua, and we're just going to pat the product onto the concealer. I then use the same brush to apply some Eldora lash glue to where the white eyeshadow is. I then used Magic Wand Glitter by the Be Beautiful Studio and just patted the product on top. For the liner, I used Maybelline Gel Liner and a 316 Zoeva angled brush. Then you can set the eyeliner using Urban Decay Blackout eyeshadow. I'm then going to apply my favourite lashes, which are the M112 by Eldora. I'm really loving a white waterline at the moment, so I'm using Milk Pencil by NYX Cosmetics. I'm now going to use my MAC 252 brush and Select Cover Up by MAC. I'm putting this on the under eye, and I'm not using this as a concealer, I'm just using this as a primer for eyeshadow. So again, we're using it as a base to make the colours really pigmented. So we're going to complete the same eyeshadow stages that we used on the lid. I'm starting with Copper Tone Blush from MAC. going to go in with Shy, which was our second shade from the Huda Beauty palette. And then going in with our third shade, which was Fever Blush by MAC. Again, after each colour that we add, we need to go back in with our previous shade. So as you can see, I'm then going back in with the previous shades. So once I've blended Fever, I'm then going to go back in with Shy, and then I'm going to go back in with Copper Tone. And now we're going to use our final shade, which was Bossy from the Huda Beauty palette. Now we want our final shade to be as close to the waterline as possible. I'm now going to use MAC Upward Lash Mascara, and I'm going to apply this to both the top lashes and the bottom lashes. I'm going to use a pencil brush from MSQ, and I'm going to use Nylon Eyeshadow by MAC. I'm just going to use this as a highlight for the inner corners and to highlight under the brow bone. So here's the final eye look. I really hope you like it, and I hope you enjoyed watching.